Hello, I am Robert Holmberg. I'm a member of Science Outreach Athabasca, and this presentation is on unwanted guests, lice, bed bugs, and fleas. And this is part 2 of 3, and we're concentrating this time on bed bugs. Okay, this is what bed bugs look if they're drawn out. And here's a photograph of one. So the first thing we're going to look at is identification. Bed bugs are in the order Hemiptera. They're true bugs. These insects all have a sucking beak. Some feed only on animals, some feed only on plants, but they all have this sucking beak. And for bed bugs, it's the family Cimicidae, and simicid bugs all feed on the blood of mammals and birds. So this is the one that especially feeds on humans, and again, that's what it looks like. Now, how do you detect them? Usually you have to look in bedding for live, dead, squashed bed bugs, but also their feces. This is a out of focus close-up of the seam of a mattress, showing the sorts of things that you would see. So you can also detect bed bugs with various collecting devices. This is a collector that in about 2018 was about $25, and they can use various attractants like carbon dioxide, pheromones, which are chemicals that you secrete on your body that attracts them, and also they have aggregation pheromones that they attracted one to another, and this is a way of detecting them. And the carbon dioxide works for about a week. The other attractants for up to 90 days. So those other attractants are better for long-term monitoring. Now, there's various aggregating pheromones. These are a few of them that are diagrammatically represented here. So there are various forms of those sorts of things that can be used. Another way of detecting bed bugs is with dogs, and dogs can be trained to sniff out bed bugs, and some commercial firms do indeed use them. So what harm do they cause? Well, of course, they bite. So the bite is painless at first, but later you get swelling and itching. And they tend to bite in a row. So you can see a number of these bites are in rows, but not necessarily so. And they can cause allergic reactions, such as shown on this arm of a man. Now, we're lucky in that they don't tend to transmit diseases in North America. But in Central and South America, they do transmit Chagas disease. Here's a diagram of their life cycle. The adults lay eggs, and there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 larval stages before becoming adult. And one of the strange things about bed bugs is that they have what is called traumatic or hypodermic insemination. The females do not have a reproductive opening in their body for receiving the sperm, and the males inject the females in the abdomen. Occasionally this is fatal, but because bed bugs are not endangered by any stretch of the imagination, the species continues quite well. Well, the life cycle is up to 4 generations a year, so they can build up populations quite a bit. They normally feed on mammals and birds. They generally feed at night and hide in crevices during the day. They'll die in a few days without a blood meal, but if they do get a blood meal, the adults can last up to 20 to 400 days under cool conditions. So if they've fed, they're quite long, have a long lifespan. Okay, how do you avoid bed bugs? So more than 93% are found within 1.5 meters of where humans sleep or rest. So that they tend to be concentrated in that area, but not 100%. And they're worldwide. They're in homes, in hotels, theaters, laundromats, buses, offices, libraries, all kinds of places. They get carried around. So if you're going to prevent transportation from, say you stay in a hotel and don't want to take them home with you, you should first check between the mattress and the box spring to see and see if you have any evidence of bed bugs, and around the headboard and around any draperies or around a bed. Again, they're usually found around the bed. So one of the things you can do is keep your luggage elevated off the floor. And these most hotels have these folding racks. You should use them and make sure that when you put them on the racks that the suitcase is not touching the walls. You can also use a closet that's furthest from the bed, and if worst case scenario, you can use the bathroom to store your luggage. So on return from a hotel that you're worried about, then you can treat your luggage and the contents with cold in a freezer or outside in the wintertime in northern North America, and that will kill them. Or you can use heat, and this is a diagram of a portable device that you can buy, but it's only for small suitcases. Okay, if you're dealing with a poor country, there's other precautions that you can keep as keep your clothes in a resealable plastic bags. Ensure that the hotel to begin with is free of bed bugs. You can move the bed away from the walls if that's possible. You can ensure the bedding and bed skirts do not touch the floor because they can crawl across the floor and get up on the bed. You could use a mosquito or bed net to reduce their possibility of reaching you. You can use double-sided tape on the legs of the bed so that if they crawl up, they will be stuck onto the tape and can't reach you. Or you can even put some glass or metal containers with liquid such as soap and water underneath the legs of the bed. Okay, continuing on, you have to be careful about certain countries because they can use very hazardous insecticides. And there was a fatality case of tourism in Thailand in 2011, where they used chemicals that were very toxic to humans. They used high concentrations, higher than recommended doses, and they didn't air out the rooms before they rented them to their guests. So another way to avoid them is, yes, people use mattresses out in the curb, and lots of things are used that way, recycled, but don't use mattresses. Don't use sofas because they can contain bed bugs. And even furniture can transmit bed bugs. This is a screw in a recessed opening, and you can see the bed bugs there in their feces. And even shoes can track in bed bugs into an area that didn't have them before. So you can reduce clutter in your bedroom, especially. So this particular photograph shows all kinds of pillows and covers and rugs and things like that, all good places to hide bed bugs. So avoid the use of excess drapery and rattan furniture and things like that where they can hide. And one of the things you can do is cover mattresses and box springs with tight covers, the ones that are used for dust mite allergies. The bed bugs can't penetrate them, and it makes a smooth surface where they can easily be detected or removed. The other thing to do is to prevent keeping children and yourself away from pets. So you have a barrier. Don't have the pets sleep with yourself or your children, because bed bugs can go on dogs and cats. The other thing is that you can use specific clothing like coveralls and store that clothing in a place away from sleeping areas when dealing with livestock. Bed bugs are especially happy to feed on chickens, and if you have chickens, your chance of getting bed bugs are escalated unless you use these precautions. Okay, how can you control or kill bed bugs? Well, one is vacuuming. You can get quite a few of them by vacuuming, and freeze the vacuum bags or burn it right afterwards so that they don't escape. But this will only reduce the populations, not necessarily eliminate them. You can also use steam cleaning to reduce the populations, and they're recommending 71 to 82 degrees Celsius for the temperature of the steam, but it doesn't penetrate all the places, and if you use excess steam, you'll produce water, which will produce molds and give you another problem. Then you can use cold. And I've tried to find out what is the best recommendation, and various sources recommend different amounts. So -7 degrees Celsius for a week, -18 for 2 to 4 days, -20 for 4 days. I would say the colder and the longer the better, and the more likely that you're going to kill them. So going to the other way is using heat. And again, I've not been able to get a great source for specific temperatures and times. So +40 degrees for several hours, +45 for unspecified amount of time, or +49 to 57 for unspecified period of time. People have used diatomaceous earth, which scrapes the waxy layer off of the bed bugs, and they desiccate and dry from lack of water. But the problem with diatomaceous earth, it's made out of silica, the same thing glass is made out of. It's very sharp, and it can cause respiratory problems. Bean leaves have been scattered on floors, and they have these trichome hairs that adhere to the bed bugs and get them. So if you see bean leaves on your floor in Costa Rica or whatever, they're good there for catching bed bugs. What will not work is keeping a light on at night, because even though they generally feed at night, if they're hungry enough, they will feed during the day. And leaving a place empty for a month is no good, because, as I say, it may take over a year for adults that have had a blood meal to die. Wrapping mattresses with plastic and keeping out in the sun doesn't usually work, because you can't get the temperatures high enough unless you live really far south in a very hot climate. And staying in an expensive hotel doesn't guarantee you won't have bed bugs. And some people use boracic acid or essential oils, and these really are not effective. So how to kill bed bugs? You usually, if you do home treatments, you're going to reduce the infestations, but you're not going to eliminate them, and they're going to reoccur. So you often have to go to a professional pest control company. And eradication can cost $2,000 to $4,000, and might involve replacing your mattress and box spring, or if several bedrooms, several mattresses and box springs. And you may need to evacuate the home, your home, for several days while the pesticide is dispersed. So it's an expensive proposition. Okay, pesticide companies use heating devices for whole apartments or building, and some people say, oh, I'll crank up my home thermostat to the highest possible setting. Well, they don't go high enough, and it's not going to be effective. But the problem with these extra heaters that are put in is if their thermostats fail, they can overheat and cause fires. And so if you're using that, make sure your fire insurance is up to date. And this high heat causes vaporization of various volatiles and various substances. And so you should really use a HEPA filter to get rid of these generated aerosols. So pest control companies often also use biocides or insecticides or pesticides. They're virtually all the same. Pesticides don't kill only pests. And if they're an insect, they just don't kill that insect. They kill other insects as well. And they don't just kill insects, they kill other organisms as well. And so really they're all biocides. They kill organisms. Some are just more susceptible than others because of their metabolism or because of the concentration of the pesticide. Okay, there's pesticide resistance, and this occurs in insects and does occur in bed bugs. And so you often need repeated applications to get all of the bed bugs removed. And one of the things is that the pesticides tend to make the bed bugs move. So if you're in an apartment and say there's 4 apartments on a single floor, one apartment has bed bugs and hires somebody to spray pesticide in their room, the bed bugs then tend to move to all the other apartments on that floor or even beyond. So you usually have to treat the whole building, which is expensive. Now, in the future, there may be other more effective mechanisms. Insect growth regulators are being researched, and biological control, like with a fungus, and systemic biocides that you take orally as dogs are used to kill fleas and things like that. So the next presentation will be on fleas. So if you enjoyed or learned something from this presentation on bed bugs and would like to learn something about fleas, please watch the next video. Thank you.